Let us discuss the law of variable proportions. The law of variable proportion is one of the most important laws when we talk about production functions. Let us go with the statement. This law states that as we increase the quantity of only one input, keeping the other factor constant. Here we are talking about variable factors and fixed factors. As you can see, since we are dealing with variable and fixed factors, so the first thing that should come to your mind is we are talking about short run production functions. We have to do the production in very given amount of time. Then the total product initially increases at an increasing rate, then a decreasing rate, and finally at a negative rate. So this was the statement of the law. Let's look at the key terms which might be used later on in this module in our discussion. The first being the total product. Total product refers to total quantity of goods produced by a firm during a given number of time. Let us say I have a land, I have to employ some laborers. I have employed some laborers for the production of rice. So if 10 laborers are producing 60 kgs of rice, then the total product for me is 60 kgs, 60 units of rice. Average product. Average product refers to output per unit of variable input. Let us understand this definition with an example. If total product is 60 kg of rice produced by 10 laborers, then average product will be 6 kgs. Now, average product is like average. I mean, if there are 10 laborers producing 60 kgs, then you can come to know that then you can come to know through average product how much each labor is producing. That is 6 kgs in this case. So the average product can be mathematically expressed at the total product divided by units of variable factor. And the marginal product, which means that which talks about the extra product, the addition in the total product when one more unit of variable factor is employed. The extra product we got when we employed another labor in the previous discussion of a land is marginal product. Let's talk about the assumptions of this law, where this law holds its validity. It is related to short run production function, as we've seen in the definition as well. We've talked about fixed factors and variable factors, so we can say that it is related to short run production function, and it should be. Now, since it is related to short run production function, there always must be two factors of production, that is fixed and variable factors. Technology must remain constant, and this law applies to field only. That is, this law will be proved only when it is applied practically. Now, let us look at the schedule. Let us take an example. For example, I have the land, I have some laborers, I have to employ them for the production of something, let us suppose rice. So when the land is a fixed factor, because since we are talking about short run production functions, the land is not going to change. The fixed factor is going to remain constant. So the land is fixed. You're not going to shift your land here. Now, suppose I had employed one labor in that land for the production. The total product obtained by that labor's work is 100, and so we can obtain the average product and the marginal product respectively. Now, as I've increased the number of labors from 1 to 2, I've seen that the total product has increased, and it has increased from 100 to 210. Now, you can consider it as you can see in the values, the total product has been increasing. Now, when I have employed 3 laborers, it is 334. For 4, it becomes 420. So the total product actually gets increasing. Now, let us talk about the marginal product. It was 100 initially, then 110, then 120, which means with the increment of the number of labors, we are getting more and more production. But after 120, it fell down to 90. Now, what is the reason of this fall? The reason of this fall can be stated that now we've employed more labors than what would actually have been required by the land. So due to that, the marginal product is then you can see that the marginal product is decreasing, although the total product is having a rise, and you can see that this increment in the total product is also not as constant as it was, not as increasing as it was before when we've talked about 1, 2, and 3 labors. Now, at one point, the total product becomes constant after the employment of 6 labor, because the 6th labor doesn't have actually any job to do, and the marginal product becomes 0. So one thing to be kept in mind is when total product is maximum, the marginal product becomes 0. After the employment of one more labor, that is the 7th labor, the total product actually falls, which means that the labor and the marginal product becomes negative. That means that the labor is completely useless for me, and he actually doesn't have any single job to do. Now let us look at the graph. of this very quickly. This is the plot of between the total product and the units. As you can see in the first phase, which is 1 to 3 labors, it is increasing at an increasing rate, then it is diminishing a bit, although it is increasing, and then finally it's occurring a fall. The first phase can be termed as law of increasing return, wherein the total product increases at an increasing rate. The second phase can be termed as the law of decreasing return, and the third one, law of negative return, wherein the marginal product becomes negative. And this is the graph about regarding the average and the marginal product depicting in the same plot. The marginal product, as you can see, becomes negative. The point F is a point of inflection, wherein about which the nature of the curve changes. Thank you.